Hi guys, welcome back to Ethereal Orb. I'm not going to be painting today. I'm going to be doing an adhesion test. I sometimes like to paint with just paint and water. It's actually one of my favorite ways to do fluid acrylics. This was just paint and water. I did this just for this test, so I used some colors I didn't like because I didn't want to end up with a pour that I loved and then was going to have to possibly ruin. But I like the way the colors interact. You can get some interesting cells and some bleeding of the colors, at least the way I mix it, because I like that look. But I like the way the paint flows. I like the way the colors interact when I use just paint and water. Here's another one I did that was just paint and water. Has a glare because it's been varnished, but I got some really interesting interaction there where the colors met, and I really like working with it. But if you do much reading or even the paint companies, a lot of them will say not to use more than 30% water due to adhesion, making sure it will adhere to the gesso on the canvas so that it won't flake off and it will stick. So that's why I started trying some different things for pouring mediums. I use that Nova color. I've used PVA glue. I've used Liquitex pouring medium. And I like the way the paint flows with just paint and water. I've also read some differing opinions about the way pouring works as opposed to painting on with a paintbrush layer upon layer upon layer, of paint, and how it's going to adhere better than several layers of brushed on paint. Or if you do like a tinted ground where you really water down your paint to give the canvas a specific color that you're going to then paint on top of with a paint that's not watered down. So I've heard some arguments from both sides, and then I ran into an article, I will link to it, on Just Paint, which is Golden's website, where they talk everything paint and mediums and art supplies that they make, very technical information, and they suggest for a test for adhesion a crosshatch, what do they call it? A crosshatch adhesion test, to test how well your paint is adhering to the substrate. And I looked it up, and I saw it on some other sites suggesting it for all types of applications, not just acrylic paints. There are several I found for automotive paint and things like that people may be painting in a different way, using different mediums, or putting on a substrate that wasn't necessarily typical or traditional type of substrate. So this was Golden's suggestion, as well as several other places I found. And the instructions were from Golden to make slits with a razor blade in the paint, 1/8 of an inch apart, so some going this way and then going this way, so that's where the crosshatch comes from. And then you put tape. They suggested masking tape. I have packing tape. I don't think it's any less sticky than masking tape. But you do the crosshatch, then you put the tape on, and then you pull it off. And you're supposed to let the paint sit for dry for at least 72 hours. It's been at least 84, maybe a little bit more. So it's been over the 72 hours. So it said if when you pull the tape away and no squares of paint come up, you have excellent adhesion. If just a few squares come up, you have adequate adhesion. And if a whole bunch of them come up, obviously you have inadequate adhesion. They also said that, if you have a few come up, that you might want to retest with a different mix and maybe make some changes to make it better. So this is what we're going to do, and we'll see how well this sticks. So I'm going to do my rows 1/8 of an inch apart this way. My lines are not perfectly straight, but I don't think that matters. Okay, I'm not quite going all the way through the canvas, so that is good. I'm going through the paint. And it suggested about a 2-inch square. So we're going to keep going here. That might be a little more than 1/8 of an inch, but that's okay. I guess that's why you do it. Could have used a ruler and made it exact, and I thought about it, and then I thought that's going to be really tedious. And I can get close enough. Whoops, that one I went a little bit too. Just want to make sure I get through the paint so it's an accurate test. Okay. And I knew I was going to ruin this canvas, so like I said, I just did a really quick, this was a dirty pour. Just did a really quick dirty pour to do this with. And I used this green that I really don't like because, like I said, I thought, okay, I certainly don't love every pour I do, but I thought the minute I try and do one that I know is going to be ruined, is going to be the time I really love it and I won't want to ruin it. So I just went ahead and used a color I didn't like. I didn't think I'd like this tan. I think it's called unbleached titanium white, I believe it's what it's called. Yeah, I went all the way through right there. But with the black, the way it kind of interacts, like it's not gonna glare here, right in here. I actually kind of like it, so I may try another pour with it, with a color other than this green. So I'm not crazy about this green. That's okay. Now I'm not worried about. I'm not upset about losing this pour. Okay. Taking it away from the camera bit, make sure you get them all the way through. Okay. Get my tape. Close the razor blade here. Put this on really, really well. It's nice and stuck. Okay. And it said pull straight up. Okay, look at that. Absolutely none of them came up. Let's do a quick. I know I'm up through the paint because I went almost through the canvas through most of them, but let's just see. Yep, I'm definitely through the paint because if I do this, I can see canvas. Of course, there's where the hole is, but anyway, we'll do it one more time, but that's what Golden calls excellent adhesion. So I'm going to say that when we're pouring and not layering on with a brush, that it's going to get excellent adhesion. And of course you can always try this at home too on a small little canvas if you're so inclined. There we go. And see how it works with your mix and with your paints. But I'm not going to worry anymore about using just paint and water and having to worry about it chipping or flaking off the canvas, because if Golden says that's excellent adhesion, and man, they know about paint. They do all kinds of technical studies and all that on their YouTube channel and in their labs. So I'm going to call it good. Of course, everybody has to do what they're comfortable with and what they feel like they need to do for their art. But I am probably going to be doing a lot more in the future with just paint and water, and some with Floetrol, because I do like how that works. But and I may do a test with paint, water, and Floetrol with this as well, because I don't believe Floetrol has binders in it, but I could be wrong about that. But anyway, I'm not going to worry about a pouring medium, just to make sure that I'm getting good adhesion to my canvas, because as you can see, that paint's not going anywhere. So we have a success there. Thanks guys for watching. Happy pouring.